Daniel, in a village nestled between green hills. Their cottage stood by a river, shaded by a grand old oak. Daniel, 10 years old, with eyes that shone with curiosity, loved their life. He loved their walks by the river, the stories Thomas told, and the lessons he learned. Thomas, a woodcutter, worked hard but always made time for his son. He believed in teaching Daniel life's truths, just like his father had taught him. One sunny afternoon they sat beneath the oak tree. The river flowed gently, reflecting the sky. Daniel, full of excitement, recounted his day's adventures. Thomas listened patiently, a smile gracing his lips. He cherished these moments, the bond they shared, the trust they built. It was under this very oak years ago that Thomas himself had learned life's lessons from his own father. He hoped to pass on the same wisdom to Daniel.
"This is all I have," the stranger said, his voice heavy with emotion. "Please take it."
Daniel's eyes widened at the sight of the locket. It sparkled in the firelight, mesmerizing him with its beauty.
"Please," he pleaded, "it's the least I can do."
The next day, a stranger arrived at their door. He was weary and lost, his clothes dusty from travel. He asked for food and shelter, claiming he'd lost his way while on a journey. Thomas, ever the kind soul, invited him in, offering him bread and a warm place by the fire. Daniel watched, curious, as the stranger ate, his eyes darting around their humble home. After his meal, the stranger, his voice raspy with exhaustion, thanked them. He pulled out a beautiful silver locket, a treasure he claimed was his only possession. Thomas, his heart touched by the stranger's gratitude, finally agreed to keep the locket, promising to return it if the stranger ever came back. S1. Thomas hesitated. He looked at the locket, then at Daniel, who was captivated by its shine. He knew he couldn't accept such a precious gift, but the stranger insisted.
"Daniel," I started, my voice hesitant, "remember what I said about honesty?"
Daniel nodded innocently, his attention on his make-believe game.
"Sometimes I began choosing my words carefully. People tell lies even when it seems like they're being kind."
Daniel looked up, his brow furrowed in confusion. Thomas explained to Daniel that he didn't believe the stranger's story. He thought the locket might be stolen. Daniel's eyes widened in shock. He couldn't believe that someone would lie, especially after receiving such kindness.
Later that night, after the stranger had retired to the spare room, Thomas sat with Daniel by the fire. A knot of unease tightened in his chest. He knew the locket was valuable, far too valuable for a simple act of kindness. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. He looked at Daniel, who was playing with a small piece of wood, pretending it was the silver locket. Thomas took a deep breath. He knew he had to tell Daniel the truth about the locket.
The next morning I went to the stranger's room.
The stranger was gone, leaving behind no trace except the memory of his visit and the weight of the silver locket. Anthony felt a mixture of disappointment and a strange sense of relief.
I knew I couldn't keep the locket. It was a symbol of a lie, a betrayal of the trust I shared with Peter. I explained everything to Peter, who listened intently, his young mind grappling with the complexity of truth and deception.
But Father, why did he lie to us?
Sometimes people make mistakes, Peter. It doesn't diminish our act of kindness.
What are we going to do with the locket, Father?
We'll do the right thing. We'll try to find its rightful owner.
Peter nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. The oak tree outside swayed gently in the wind, as if acknowledging their decision. The river flowed on, carrying with it the remnants of their encounter, leaving behind a valuable lesson learned. News of the stranger and the locket spread through the village.
A few days later, a merchant arrived at our doorstep, his face etched with worry. He had lost a silver locket, a family heirloom, to a thief.
Anthony listened patiently, his heart sinking as he realized the truth.
I brought out the locket, handing it over to the merchant, who recognized it instantly.
The merchant was overjoyed. He thanked Anthony and Peter profusely, offering them a reward, which they politely declined.
As the merchant left, clutching the locket, a sense of peace settled over me. I had done the right thing, even though it was difficult. See, Peter, honesty may not always be easy, but it's always right.
I understand now, Father. It's about the quiet strength of integrity.
You both did well. I'm proud of you.
As they stood there, father and son, the oak tree by the river seemed to stand a little taller, its branches reaching towards the sky, a silent guardian of the truth that resonated within their hearts. The river flowed on, its gentle murmur a constant reminder of the life lessons learned and the